Cash Call, once again, back with Dale Archdekin and Brian Curtis, here to bring you an absolutely riveting episode this time. We're going to change it up. I know normally we're playing calls, we are, helping coach you guys through this, but one of the things about Brian and I in our respective, coaching and training businesses is that we network with other coaches and trainers so that we can really stay relevant to what's going on in our industry. And Brian, I don't know if these people have been paying attention, but there are changes that are coming. We're going to go through a market fluctuation. Yeah. And so we want to pull out all the stops. And today we have a fantastic guest, Sherri Johnson Sherri Johnson is a speaker and coach and trainer with a ton of experience. And I think it was 20 something years in brokerage ownership. Sherri, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself better than I can? Tell everybody why you're amazing and why you're here and why they need to listen to you.
Oh, well, thank you both for having me. And hi, everybody. I'm Sherri Johnson. I am a national speaker, coach, consultant. I founded Sherri Johnson Coaching in 2017 after a 23-year run as a top producing agent out of the Cleveland, Ohio market right on Lake Erie, and was an agent, top producing agent. We had about 2,000 agents. And my goal was to be in the top 50, and then it was to be in the top 25. I was in the top 20, and managed, after being an agent for about 10 years, I managed several different offices for now the probably number 3 largest privately owned real estate brokerage in the country, Howard Hanna Real Estate. And I had 750 agents, about just shy of $2 billion in annual sales. When I started, it was about 600 million. And through lots of the strategies I'm going to share with you today, we went from 600 million to 1.7 billion in 4 years. Great run, a lot of great people, fantastic. I had 13 offices, and it was absolutely fabulous. Since then, though, we offer Sherri Johnson Coaching offers agent, team, manager, and executive brokerage level consulting and coaching, world-class. We have an incredible program, and we're just here to help people take their business literally to the next level. I'm not a platitude person. We're really about results and making unbelievable changes in your life that get you the life you deserve to have and that you never thought was possible. So I love what I do. And to be honest with you, I have to tell you, I wanted this company when I was 27 years old, and said I'm going to have a national speaking, coaching, and consulting company one day. And why I tell people that is that, I was 27, it was 1997, I'm 52. And when I turned 47, that was it. I said, I'm doing this 20 years later. And I'm a single mom, completely 100% self-funded. I come from a lineage of entrepreneurs. Both my parents, neither of them went to college. I was the first person to go to college in my family. And, they didn't give me any money. In fact, my dad pretty much told me, you might not sell a house for 6 months. You might want to get a real job. And then I very quickly in my first month, proved him wrong and actually sold 5 houses, mostly out of fear of failure. But what I tell people is, if you believe it, you can do it. And you have to be the very first person to believe in yourself. Literally put the blinders on and make it happen and fail forward. I have not stopped. I have like 9 coaches. I just hired 3 more salespeople. You can do whatever you want. You just have to believe it and do it and not listen to anybody else except your inner voice. So I'm excited to be here today. Thanks for having me. Sorry for the long intro.
That's a way better introduction than what I could have done, Brian. Holy smokes.
I mean, she's smart. She coaches people. Rock on,
Right. So Sherri, as we had talked about what Cash Call is about, a lot of times, Brian and I are experts at lead conversion, scripting dialogue, all that kind of stuff. But a lot of it centers around strangers, right? Stranger business, stuff that people have to pay to get. or they have to go out and hustle to get. And one of the things that I wanted to bring you in for is because I know that you're an expert with Sphere, past client, a lot warmer conversations. And I know that you're an expert at working your CRM and your database and things like that. And so, I wanted to bring you in because everybody here is like, what's Sherri Johnson going to teach us about lead conversion? And so I'd like you to talk about that from your perspective and give them some of those pointers, the things that you help large brokerages implement with their agents and their salespeople.
Yes. And, it's funny. Most of my business in the beginning was with strangers. I have a course called Make 50 Grand at Your Next Open House, which is all about strategically generating listing appointments from doing the right open house. And you have to follow the plan, but you'll achieve 50,000+ in potential business, and then convert it. And, you just said it. How do we convert leads in our database? And really, I think what agents make the mistake of doing is a couple of things. One, they don't talk to enough people. And so if you only have, I call it 3 eggs in a basket syndrome. You have 3 people you're working with, and if they don't all come together, right, they're giving their time and attention to these 3 leads and expanding that over 40 hours of work week. And it's like, and then if those 3 things don't happen, right, they have a big 0, no listings, no sale for the month, no income. And so our system that I created this when I was an agent, it's called Goldmine Pipeline. And it's a little bit different than anything I've ever seen, frankly. And it just literally casts a wider, bigger net where you are talking to, instead of 3 or 4 people that are, agents are like, I only want to work with A buyers. Well, that's great, except my system actually will create future business 6, 8, 12 months from now, 18 months from now. So when someone says, Dale, I'm not ready to buy for a year or 2, great. Like, I need business 12 months from now. I actually love that. I put them on the Goldmine Pipeline and I stay in touch with them, and I stay in touch with them monthly and weekly until they buy.
Yeah.
And so I think what happens is, instead of having just 3 or 4 people that I hope are going to do something now, the system actually builds out, 30 to 40, maybe even 70 people on your pipeline. And every month, trust me when I tell you, 4 to 5 of them are going to drop, and you'll have more sales than you ever thought possible because you have a huge pipeline of leads. And so what we do is we monetize that, meaning we add it up. I have, 10 or 20 listing leads. They're 400 a piece, 300 a piece, whatever your average sale price is. And if you're in a $400,000 price point, you have 20 listing leads, which many of you have, and you just don't even realize you have that much potential business. 20 times 400,000 is an $8 million pipeline of listing leads right there. Boom, you've got 8 million. Most of those people are going to buy from you. So now you've got a buyer pipeline. We add that up, right? Say it's another 8 million. We've got a $16 million pipeline. You're used to doing maybe $6 million a year, and you don't even know what you have, right? And it's because we just don't think about long-term, building this sort of Alaskan pipeline that goes on forever. We can actually create predictability and predictable, consistent cash and income every month, instead of this roller coaster ride that so many are on. They sell a house, they don't sell a house, they sell a house, and they don't sell a house. And so what happens is it's just a little formula. How many people do you want to, how many houses do you want to sell? How much money do you want to make? And then we work backwards and figure out how many people have to be on the pipeline. I'm about going deep with the people and staying in touch with them for months, because someone you stay in touch with for, I stayed in touch with an open house lead for 11 months. They ghosted me, if that's today's term, right? Because that's the terminology.
That's the term.
But here's what happened. And here's how the calls would go, by the way, just because everyone always says to me, what did you say? Well, I didn't show them houses for 11 months because they never called me back. But I would call them and say, hey, it's Sherri Johnson. Hey, it's Sherri Johnson. I just sent you some great properties. I'd love to show them to you Saturday or Sunday. Hey, it's Sherri Johnson. Hey, it's Sherri. Hey, it's me again. And I would do this every 2 weeks, like clockwork. And even when I would say, let me know if you aren't moving anymore, And I said, and then I would laugh and say, I'm still probably going to call you anyway. And I'd laugh. And, they never called me and they never told me to stop. And so literally in the 11th month, they called me and they said, hey, you are the only person that called us. And we know 12 realtors.
Don't you love
And
that?
we met you at an open house. And if
Oh,
you
God.
follow up with us the way that you did, we know you're the person that should be selling our house. So we know what to do when somebody's ready to go. Everybody on this call, every agent knows what to do. You go list the house and you start showing them
Right.
houses and hopefully you have a great marketing presentation. Most agents don't know what to do with people who don't know what they're doing and they don't know what their time frame is. And so, you stick with them. And here's the best part of that story. Less than 18 months later, they bought and sold with me again. So it was 4 sales, 4 closings, and the last 2 sales were like 450 list and a 650 buy. So it
So you
paid.
beat out 12 other agents without even having to fight them.
And you don't, and that was with, obviously a stranger. Just
Right.
imagine what you could do if you built a pipeline, or if you wrote down right now. You could go to goldminepipeline.com and get the form. But here's what I tell you. Looking at when an agent writes down all the potential business they have, you guys, and they go, and their eyes get huge and they think, I can do 10 million. Yes, you can. Of course you can. You actually have the potential to do that. Opportunities are not lost. They go to someone else.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a hard pill to swallow, but it's a reality. And it sucks when you didn't follow up with somebody and you thought they weren't serious, or they're in your sphere and there's a sign in their yard, or it's in the MLS and you're like, I talked to those people, or worse off, I know those people. So the Gold Mine Pipeline is to me a strategy to change the way you think about following up with leads. The fortune is in the follow-up, whether these are people you know or people you don't know. And I will tell you, because you asked really about, your sphere. Everyone, if you have a CRM that you're not using, most don't know how to use them, and that's okay. You need to have a database. I like to call your CRM your continuous referral machine. I just think it's so easy. That's such a layup, right? It's like continuous, but it is.
I like the name.
You just have to be using it. And so most agents tell me, I don't know what to say to my sphere or to my past clients. And it's like, wow, okay, well, we don't talk to enough people. And then yet we'll call a lead that we don't even know, right? That's what always just cracks me up. I'll give you a complete stranger lead. Somehow you think that's more valuable than the person who already knows you. It's very weird, but guys, listen, because these other people know you, love you, trust you, and should be a card carrying fan of yours. And if they're not, you're not doing something right. So working your own database is so easy. We have a whole strategy about how do you build a 95% referral rate. And it's very simple. Take out, a plan, a pad, whatever, and write down how many times you're going to touch and connect with your sphere per month, weekly. How are you going to reach out to your past clients? And there's so many ways to do that. We tell our coaching clients to have faces with them. I laugh. Everyone's like, oh, I love the pies. Thanksgiving, we do the pies. Mm-hmm. And they'll get, 6 to 9 pieces of business from it. And I'm like, do that every month. Like do something every month. You're getting 6 to 9 pieces of business from it.
Yeah, sure. Sherri
in
just
November
said
and December only. Like, why wouldn't you do something like that every single month? I would.
Right. You have to start a pie of the month club, everybody. That's what Sherri just said.
That is a great idea, actually.
I've heard worse ideas.
You said it. I didn't say it.
Yeah. And think about this. Okay. One of the best strategies I can tell you when you reach out to your sphere and you talk to people, and you say, look, it may not have been on your list of things to do in 2022 to move. However, I would rather give you this information so that you make a decision that's in your best financial interest than be upset with me that you didn't sell and take advantage of this market. So I have had my very best friend who I've known my entire life. He is the godfather of my son. And he said to me years ago, I'll never forget it. He said, I'm mad at you, Sherri. And I said, For what? He said, you didn't make me move. He said, you didn't make me sell my house last year. And I was like, what? I gotta tell you, like it hit me in the face. And here's what he said to me. You're like my stockbroker. I look at you like my stockbroker. When my stockbroker tells me to sell, I sell. When they tell me to buy, I buy. And I was like, he's right. I mean, thankfully, this was in the, early stages of my career of selling. And so I tell everybody that, I'm like your stockbroker. And I've had people tell me, I wish you would have told me to move. And so I want to at least give you that information. Everyone should know how much their house is worth at least every other year. And so get a, free price opinion from me, and let's get a pre-approval and see how much you could go buy if you wanted to. And if you decide this isn't the time, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I just want to give you good information so you can make a decision that's in your best financial interest, because I care about you. And it's so easy. Yes, Brian.
So Sherri, I hear this from a lot of people, and there's probably people, we've got a bunch of people watching this right now who are asking this. Yeah, that's great, Sherri, but I don't know what to say. I don't want to bother people. And that's the objection you hear. And I actually call that a rationalization versus an objection, because that's just an excuse to not do your work. But what are some of these things? If you're contacting somebody literally every month, I think as what I heard you say, what am I saying to these people is what some people are asking. So I would love to hear just some of the conversations, some of the value adds you're bringing. Obviously, we can give them CMAs every other year. That's a great piece of information. But what else are you saying? Because I can't call them every month and go, by the way, your house went up $17 last month. That's probably not a valuable conversation. So what are some of the things you're saying to them?
No, and I think you need to plan to reach out to them on a lot of different methods. Social media, create a Facebook group that you are constantly posting in that has nothing to do with real estate. Have a friends and family private Facebook group. Every single person will see every post that you put in there, because there's no algorithm that you have to pay to play like you would have to on your Facebook business page.
Right.
That's one way to connect with your sphere without calling them and saying, I have a free CMA for you. However, I call it the 3 R's. And here's what happens with the 3 R's. You can use this with your sphere. You can use this in a micro farming neighborhood. We call it micro farming, with people you know or don't know. The 3 R's are this. When I call someone and I say, hey, John, are you guys, whether you guys are thinking about, remodeling, refinancing, or relocating, I can save you time and money. Are you guys thinking about doing any of those things? And here's what happens. Brian, people who are thinking about remodeling 50% of them may decide to move if they knew how much their house was worth, and get this, in its as is condition.
Love
Meaning,
that.
hey guys, you don't have to fix that $25,000 concrete garage fiasco that's going on over there. You can sell the house, get into a different house, and not do an entire remodeling project. So some people, that's real value to them. So adding value is a huge part of my entire belief system. In fact, my father pounded that into my head so much that he said, the only way people will hire you is if you add value. If you add value, are you adding value? So you have to say to yourself, what value do I bring to these conversations? One of them is to say, if you're thinking about remodeling, you need me first before you make a decision, or go to Home Depot, or do it yourself, or hire a contractor. I can save you time and money. And actually, while we're at it, let's talk about what your house is worth, because it might be better for you to not do the remodel project unless you absolutely love your house and you want to stay there for another 15 years. So that's one way. When someone wants to refinance and they're thinking about doing a refinance, I always say, okay, let's talk. If you're going to refinance, have you thought about making a move? And let me tell you why, because honestly, right now, there's never been a better combination of your home's value coupled with the buying power you get from the interest rates. And that's another whole value added conversation that you can say to people. I have great resources to get you financing, and I can help you get a refi, no problem. I can also get you a great contractor if you're thinking about, either way, if that's what they end up wanting to do, we have connections for them. We have friends that do full house remodels. We have all of those resources, and we can also be instrumental in helping them pick the colors, what kind of materials they're putting in, et cetera, so that when they do sell it in 3 to 5 years, they've put the right materials in. So you can have these types of conversations that are about them, about their house, right? And then here's what's going to happen. They're going to say, maybe we should move. Well, I don't know. Maybe you might want to, maybe let's just have a conversation. If at the end of that conversation, it's better for you to stay, I'm going to applaud you and love you anyway, and you can sell in 5 years. When I tell somebody, it's so great when you say to somebody, yeah, you'll probably sell in like 5 or 8 years. And they immediately correct you and they say, oh no, we're out of here in 3. Oh, okay. Now I know your timeline.
Perfect.
Right.
Thank you.
So go a little bit higher with the number. Oh, like you probably won't sell for what, 5 years, 10 years? And then they immediately say, oh God, no, we're done. As soon as Johnny's out of school, we're done. We're out of here. So you can also call people and, I think when you call them and you don't want to be like sleazy salesperson, because I don't like sleazy sales script. I'm just not about that. I think when you call people and you just say, hey, I drove by your house and I saw your landscaping, it looks amazing. I'm calling and connecting with people. I'm not saying, do you want to move? Do you want to do anything? And, there's that old adage of like Ford, FORD, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. And you just talk to people about their lives. I mean, it will come up. They will have a referral for you. And it's worth saying, even if you feel weird about it, I'm taking I've heard this, a guy that I coached said this all the time. He said, I'm taking new clients, like it's such a great way to say it professionally, because you're not saying, hey, do you know anybody? You're saying, I'm taking new clients. And then I add, if you have a friend, family member, neighbor or coworker that needs to move or is thinking about moving in the next 3 to 12 months or even beyond, it's never too soon for me to have a conversation with them.
How
Right?
often, how many times in a year, Sherri, do you have that conversation with your severe and past clients?
I think you have to talk to your clients a lot, and no one's doing that. So that conversation.
But how many times are you going to ask that specific thing, right?
Yeah,
In some
probably.
form or another.
Yeah, I think you're asking that to your whether you're calling or talking to them. In my opinion, I need to get to 95%. We are communicating with our clients at some level, whether it's send out cards, which is a great relationship marketing piece, by the way. Our clients love the send out cards. If you are sending them direct messages, if you're talking to them on a regular basis, calling them, I would ask them for their business, depending on what form. If I'm sending them a mailer that says, I'm looking for testimonials, could you do me a favor? My cornerstone of my business is built on referrals from clients like you. Perhaps that's how we met, in parentheses. Next time you're on Facebook, would you please leave me a 5-star recommendation? Would you fill out this review, right? And then say, P.S., do you have any? I ask that question on every written thing that I send except a card. If I'm sending a send out card to somebody, I'm not asking them for a referral on it. But if I'm calling them and talking to them at least twice a year, you can actually put in your rotation of calls that you're calling people. I don't think that's enough. I think all of our clients that are doing 15 plus million with a 95% referral rate are touching their sphere at minimum 2 times a month with something. And so figure out what those things are and then just do them.
Okay.
Send out. Yeah, I have a question in the chat. Send out cards are, can I talk about that?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to actually give you a quick example too, because they're pretty cool. So send out cards. You can go to sherrijohnson.com and send out a card for free on me. Send out cards are cool. It's relationship marketing at its finest. And how do I do this? All right, I'll give you one of my kids first. So one of my coaches, Jill Katzenberg, has been using send out cards for over 15 years. She sold 100 houses a year. She's one of our top coaches. She's fabulous. She's here in Cleveland, actually. I wanted to be Jill Katzenberg when I was a brand new agent. And then I started my coaching company and she wanted to coach for me. And I was like, this is unbelievable. Talk about cool, right? So send out cards. What's great about the send out cards is they come in standard stock. So you could do, get well, birthday, all the occasions you could think of. Happy home anniversary cards are great. I like the ones you can make by grabbing photos off of Facebook. So these are my kids a few years ago, Matthew
Cool.
and Tori. My daughter's got her tongue out. And Jill sent me this on my birthday, right? And this is like, she grabbed the picture, she sent me the card. No one's throwing this out, right? Because it's got your family on it. I have a picture here of one of my coaches and actually a client, Julie Bertain. She got engaged. I grabbed this off of Facebook and I said, this is awesome. You guys are amazing. Congratulations. And, people, you can make these cards in like less than 5 minutes and you just drop a picture in, do your text and hit send from your phone. I did this one in 5 minutes as a kid I coach, a guy, I shouldn't say kid, a guy that I coached down at 30A in Florida. And, he was like in Louisiana at the time. And I met him at one of the shows and I said, you're having the best year ever. And when you do this with people, their graduations, their family events, births, birthdays, all kinds of things, thank you for listing your home with me. Thank you for inviting me to see your home. I have the appointment. I can send a card before the appointment, after the appointment. We have an agent. She's doing about 40 million by herself. And I'll put the link in the chat in a moment, but she
It's
does.
It's just sendoutcards.com, right?
Yeah. If you go, there's a, if you want to send one out for free, go here and build one. And then you can actually, and I'll double check that, but that would actually be like you just send a free card. I don't think if you go to send out cards, I don't think they give you an option to send a free one, but you can go to my website, partners, and send that out. You're welcome. And, to me, there's something to be said about in this high tech world we're in, right? Where you can do your own signature on these. I put my signature on here on a lot of them, my handwritten one, and the cards go out. You can put gifts in them. You can put gift cards in them. You can put all kinds of cute little things. We sent brownies with them. People go crazy over this and it's just fun. People get them. They love them. I love putting a campaign together after you sell a house to somebody for, 1 week, 3 weeks out, 6 weeks out, 30, 60, 90, 120 days. And then not just once a year, but like regularly send these people something. And it doesn't have to be, a lot. This is $1.50 printed and stamped.
Yeah.
And it's cheap. And you could do like $100 a month, unlimited, and $99 a month, unlimited, and send as many cards as you wish. You can also send one card to all of your entire sphere for a holiday or a special thing that you want to tell everybody.
Yeah.
They're great. They're great.
Great.
But you have to put something together. I like to map out the quarters and decide how many times am I seeing my people, right? If I do the pie event every other month. Another great idea is just to put networking lunches together. Many of my new agents, we would do these like grab, if I'm just going to use one that one of my agents did, and she would get business women, professional women, doctors, lawyers, people that own their own businesses of all kinds. And she would put on this little lunch for like 10 to 15 of these women. And she would say, I'm inviting you to a business networking lunch. You're going to meet some people that will help you grow your business. And, you can give them referrals and they'll give you referrals. And what would happen is every time they met, she would get business out of it. And it wasn't even set up that way. It's not like she went there to give a presentation. It was just a lunch. And guess what they always ended up talking about? They would say, Janice, what's going on with real estate? How's the real estate market? Oh, you want to talk about real estate? Okay. You're at the epicenter of that luncheon. And inevitably people are going to be talking about what's going on in real estate. And again, those turned into every month because they were so successful and those women got to know each other and they started really benefiting from each other's services. They could help each other. You could also do, small groups of dinner parties. It doesn't have to be one huge client appreciation event a year, although I would suggest doing one big, huge client appreciation event a year, at least one big one.
Yeah.
People who can't make it, we're happy they got invited, you
Yeah.
know, and
Sherri, I like the idea of multiple smaller engagements or events. I don't think I've heard that one before. Usually people are doing one big or two big client appreciation events per year. But I like the idea of these micro events that are a little more specific around certain topics or things.
Yeah. And then, you know, if take your high-end clients, I just did this with an agent in California. We broke down her list into the high-end clients over $1 million. Take those people, you know, she's taking them to her country club with her husband. And it's like I don't know how many people, probably less than 20. And it's intimate. They're going to all talk to each other. And then she's having 3 other events, ones with families and kids and other ones. So you can make these, you know, really specific to the groups of people and make them as intimate and small as you like. I just think that the more often you see your people or give them something, it's another thing, you know, if people are giving you referrals, like send them something, right? Send them a phone charger with your logo on it. Send them a Yeti cup with your logo on it. They're going to carry that thing around, and then call them up and say, hey, oh, did you get it? I did get it. And I love you. It's awesome. And then you say, do you need another one? Is everyone stealing it? Yes. Could we have 3 more? Yes. I'll send you 3 more. You know, why not? You're going to all carry my cup around, you know, you're all going to carry my phone charger around. So,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
You can really, I'd rather you spend money on the same group of people that know you, like you, trust you. And here's the thing. If we all know 6 people, which is what they say, we all know 6 people, or everyone we know knows 6 people is going to move. I think that stat's pretty high. I would take 3. If it was 3, I'd be excited.
And we all know at least 5 real estate agents too, right? So we know 6 people who are going to move, and we all know 5 real estate agents at minimum. So if you're the one real estate agent who's talking to the 6 people, guess who they're going to choose?
Amen. And you don't have to reinvent this wheel. There's no magic quick fix thing. And I think a lot of agents think that there is. And what's sad to me is, you know, people will come to us and say, I have 300 past clients. And I'm like, well, where are they?
Right.
Where's the list? And
when's the last time you talked to them? Well,
yeah, I bought my house. This is the best one when I used to manage. Every time I bought my house, we don't remember her name. She had blonde hair and her name was Kathy. And I'm like, that does not narrow it down at all to anybody, right? So here's the thing. You have to have a simple plan. When you close a deal, that's when you launch the referral plan with those people. And after that, you know, if I hear one more agent tell me someone in my sphere got a knock on their door and they sold their house without me, I mean, that is like not acceptable. That's not okay, but it's happening all the time. And I have stories, my own stories of like agents telling me they wouldn't call their sphere when I specifically said, I have a 500 buyer cash ready to go. Call that neighborhood where you used to live. Now I would know if somebody was selling. Well, guess what? I picked up 4 listings and sold her previous next door neighbor's house. I mean, like, you can't make this stuff up, you know, and her face was like, and those people were building for $1.8 million. Now that's a 2.5, it's almost like $2.5 million of lost opportunity. My point earlier, opportunities aren't lost. They go to someone else. If you have a simple yet effective plan for following up with people, having events, doing even, you know, drop-bys and just showing up with stuff, you know, I love when agents say to me, I didn't want to see anybody. I just wanted to drop something off on the porch and run. But I ended up having to talk to some people, and bottom line, they get, you know, 7 pieces of business. So
right.
It's so crazy to me. It goes back to talk to people, make yourself invaluable to them, and they will never use anybody else. In my opinion.
Absolutely. Excellent. Such good information, Sherri. Appreciate that. And listen, you know, I'm really happy that you're bringing the softer side to me and Brian. You know, Brian and I are a little more hardcore. And so I definitely appreciate the people element that you're reminding these people of, which is that these are real people and you need to have conversations with them. So we're over time, but it's so good that of course we couldn't stop. But Sherri, can you tell these people where they can find out more about you? Brad just wrote hardcore is a soft term for you guys.
And I've been called a pit bull, but you know what? Which is hysterical, but this is good. Where can people find me? Actually, sherrijohnson.com, www.sherrijohnson.com. Go to goldminepipeline.com. It's our site for a free ebook on the Goldmine Pipeline system. And
so that will give them what you were talking about, which is develop a plan for your sphere and past client to generate more business. I'm reinforcing this, everybody, because it's so important. Both Brian and I have this conversation with our clients as well, and even with Brian's team. And so Sherri already has this built out for you guys. You can grab that there. So go ahead, tell them again. It's called it's
goldminepipeline.com. And when you go there, there's actually a webinar that you can just hit yes, put in your email, hit yes. The downloadable ebook is a couple of pages with the form. You can actually start the form right on your form.
Great.
Save it to the cloud. Everyone loves that. And I would also recommend downloading my podcast. You're on it. We have a great episode featuring Dale. And I would say go to get my podcast. It's called You Rock, a real estate podcast with Sherri Johnson. It's on all podcast platforms. And we've got like 166 episodes, 30,000 downloads.
Nice.
More great content coming. So yeah, would love to
excellent.
Have you listen to that.
You also have a training marketplace that my company has contributed to a micro course to, right? Do you want to just say a little bit about your training the training shopping mall that you have? Or I didn't even know.
Yes. Well, we have a platform. It's called Sherri Johnson Academy, and it has hundreds of courses, really short how-to videos. I don't want you listening, in front of a screen. I want you out on appointments. So we have agent team and management and executive level courses for building your business, great strategies like how to make 50 grand at your next open house, from social media skills to how to do video, branding, tapping into your sphere, negotiation and listing, and all of the above. So that is available at sherrijohnson.com. We have a monthly subscription that's like 30 days. The first 30 days are free, and you can get access to that. It's an online plus one live coaching group session a month, and it's $99 a month. After the first month, there's no cancellation fee and there's no contract. So that's a really popular monthly subscription, and that gives you access to the Sherri Johnson Academy as well as a group coaching call with me once a month as well. So check it out. I can put it in the chat as well. It's sherrisfreeplaybook.com, and that will actually, you can go listen to Dale's awesome course that is on the Sherri Johnson Academy, and it's sherrisfreeplaybook.com. And check it out. First month is free.
And we're going to convince Brian to get a mini course in there too, right, Brian?
Yeah, I would love it.
Absolutely. Apparently, I've got some more work to do. I love it when I come to do a thing and someone gives me a job, but no, I'm just kidding. Actually, I look forward to the opportunity.
We'll give you more work
to do.
Yeah.
Give you more work.
So no, that's great. So Sherri, such great content. As I'm watching the chat, we're just hearing very positive. Apparently, people are sick of just listening to me and Dale. Who knew? But we really appreciate what you had to say today.
Thank you.
And to Dale's point, yeah, we make joke about us being hardcore. It's not that. It's just that we're focused a lot more on those conversations with people you never talked to before. And by the way, that's an important part of business too, in my opinion. But don't forget, if you look at someone like me who was a grinder, like I've just grind, and I was successful doing it. But I tell you what, it's nice when you put systems in place like Sherri's talking about. So yes, I can still grind, but I wake up and I'm like, oh, all that work that I did 6 months ago, all of a sudden it's like free listings, and it's not, because you've done work along the way, but it's building that consistent pipeline. And, I was talking about this on a webinar earlier, you need right now business. And that's those open houses and some of the stuff Sherri talked about. But also, it's nice to I've been working with this person for 6 months. I've been following up with this person. My sphere called me because I sent them 17 cards in the last 17 months. And they're like, I wouldn't work with anybody else. So, and I love that we're talking about that today. And it's so vital if you want to have a long-term sustainable business.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. Thank you so
I-
much, Sherri.
I love the stranger business too. Expireds, for sale by owners,
Yeah,
all those people, and just dialing. And listen, you can do both.
yeah.
I believe that you need to have a lot of sources of leads coming in. You can do both and you can just crush it. And that's exactly what we're here talking about today. So thanks for having me, you guys.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
so much for
Sherri.
coming. Good seeing everybody. We'll be back again next week with Cash Call.